3, and the year before, number 45. The Tavis Smiley Show has rapidly expanded its national syndication to now include nearly 50 radio stations across the country and counting. Congratulations, Tavis.
Yeah, yeah. Chip on my shoulder, big enough to feed Cambodia. See, I never fit into their quotas. Sneakers wasn't fitting and my knees needed lotion. Long before I knew the significance of a comb, I roam like phone with no vocal reception. Immigrant parents had me feeling like a step kid, and black Americans never did accept me. That's why I thrive so much when in respect, dig. I never fit in with them light skins. I felt the lighter they was, the better that their life is. So I resented them and they resented me. Cheated on light-skinned Dominique when we was 17. I figured I heard her, she'd evidently hurt me. And all women who had light features. See, I never let a light broad hurt me. That's why I strike first and the first cuts deep.
From a light-skinned girl to a dark-skinned brother, shade doesn't matter, heart makes the lover. Boy, you're so beautiful, boy, you're so beautiful. Shade doesn't matter, heart makes the lover. Honey brown, caramel, coffee brown, chocolate, toffee, pecan, licorice. Boy, you're so beautiful.
Just another
Happy Hump Day. Welcome in. It's Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580 here for your entertainment news update. All the trending topics running up and down your timeline. And if it feels like the culture is in cleanup mode this week, spoiler alert, it kind of is. You know, we have so many things on the menu tonight, and the theme of that song, that's Wale and Chrisette Michelle, by the way. Shades. Yeah, we're getting into colorism. It's not a new conversation when it comes to Martin, the TV show, and Martin's relationship with Pam. Ari Lennox is expressing some frustration she has in watching the show. So we're going to talk about it, and I'm going to say something that might be controversial for me to say, but I'm going to say it. So we're going to get into that. We are also, it's been a rough week for ESPN talent this week. They fired Shannon Sharpe. He's gone. We're going to get into those details. Marcus Morris, one of the Morris twins, former NBA player, ESPN talent. He was arrested for fraud for writing bad checks, allegedly owing a casino marker. He was thrown in jail. And now, Gilbert Arenas. We know I have an affection for Gil and his commentary and his shows, but Gil seems to be in a little bit of hot water right now. He was arrested earlier today. He's already out on bail. We'll give you those details coming up. Plus, a whole lot more. Tracee Ellis Ross, she's giving us grown woman sermon energy in Self magazine, a familiar theme, but some are saying, yo, Tracee, it's too much now. So we're going to talk about what she said, and if some are correct in saying they feel as though Tracee Ellis Ross has made being the spokeswoman for singledom her personality. We'll talk a little bit about that. But of course, before we do, I like to start the night off with a couple of conversation starters, just things you should be aware of. First up, you guys have been asking for this particular Tyler Perry movie for quite some time, and it looks like it might be happening. Tyler posted a photo on Instagram of a script cover titled, "Why Did I Get Married Again?" with the caption, "I'm just going to sit this right here." So we know in the past when a third film has been requested to be added to, I guess it's a franchise at this point. We know the original, Why Did I Get Married? Why Did I Get Married 2? Some of the stars that are in it include Jill Scott, Janet Jackson, Malik Yoba, or did his character get killed off? No, that's Richard T. Jones. At any rate, it's a fan favorite, and it looks like a third version might be coming our way. Previously, Tyler said, as a matter of fact, I think it was around Christmas time, he was on Sherry Shepherd's show, and he said that it was hard to envision another, it's not a sequel. What is the third film called? A trilogy. Okay. To imagine it becoming a trilogy. Shout out to Andy with that knowledge coming through, because I was blank. He said it was scheduling, but I guess now maybe scheduling is working out. I mean, I don't see why, though. You only need a week to shoot a Tyler Perry movie. I'm sure everybody got that, but we'll see. Could be headed our way. Keep up for it. And Kim Kardashian has announced a new product for Skims. She's dropping Skims face shapewear. It's a jawline and cheek sculpting wrap. Yes, for your face. The promo calls it ultra soft jaw support using their signature seamless sculpt fabric. Kim is giving facelifts on a budget, one wrap at a time. We know that, there's a lot of poke, prod when it comes to the facial area right now. And this is, maybe a more natural alternative means that one could utilize. We'll see. Listen, when we come forward, we're going to get into Gilbert Arenas, Ari Lennox, and more. You know how we get down. On the other side, you're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're riding with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we're proud to be celebrating 4 years on the air, but we know we could not have made it this far without you. We work hard every single day to curate conversations that will enlighten, encourage, and empower you. So, from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580, a big thank you for your love and support.
You don't know how much you mean to me.
And by the way, if your smartphone did not update automatically, be sure to download our brand new KBLA 1580 app. We think you'll love all the new features, including new ways to send us photos and video in real time, whenever news breaks, while we're on the air. It's a new dawn, a new day for KBLA Talk 1580, and we're glad you're on this journey with us.
You never turned away, you were right there. Thank you.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy. In 2011, I founded Wesley Financial Group with one goal in mind: to help honest folks out of their timeshares permanently. Today, I run Wesley with my two sons, a real family business, treating every client and every employee like we'd want our own family treated. That philosophy has helped us grow into the largest, most trusted timeshare cancellation company in the United States. Fortune magazine even recognized us as one of the best places to work. Why? Because we genuinely care. In fact, some of our former clients were so moved by their experience working with us, they joined our team so they could help others to timeshare freedom. If you're stuck in a timeshare, give us a call. Let our family help your family.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-687-7979. That's 800-687-7979. 800-687-7979.
Hi, everyone. My name is Raquel Graham, and I have a big announcement to make. I have my own radio show. It debuts on KBLA 1580 on August 2nd, and it is called Entrepreneuring. I'm an inventor, a Shark Tank winner, entrepreneur for over a decade, and a proud mom of two. I created this show because I know firsthand that entrepreneurship doesn't have just one look. Entrepreneuring celebrates what building a business really looks like: big, medium, small, and micro. Some of us are running multi-million-dollar operations. Some of us are braiding hair in our kitchens. We're bakers, grant writers, laundromat owners, event promoters. Mark your calendars. Please tune in August 2nd, KBLA 1580 at 1 p.m. Pacific time. No question is too big or small. Let me know what you'd like for me to cover. See you then.
Now back to more entertainment news with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome back in. It's Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. So if you want to join the conversation, hit us up, 800-920-1580. Social media, It's always a vibe. KBLA 1580. I'm at Stiletto Jill. Holla at your girl. Say hello. Join us in the YouTube chat. They're already chatting in there. We're going to get to some of those comments because they're spicy. And of course, we have a new app. Download the app. Get caught up there if you've missed any show. And if you have, shame on you. All right, now grab your snacks, a beverage, and let's get into these trending topics. We're starting with Ari Lennox. So, we know that Ari has had her ups and downs with social media. She's expressed herself, her insecurities, her wins, her losses, her disgust with the medium. All of that we've heard from Ari via social media. I thought even for a while she had decided to delete all social media, but I guess she came back and, that's all right. Recently, just a couple of days ago, actually, she started trending because she opened up about how the Martin jokes that were aimed at Pam on the show still bother her to this day, right? She said, I'll always feel a way about that. It's disrespectful to dark-skinned women. She's beautiful. So let's hear in detail what Ari had to say.
The thing that pissed me off about Martin was how much he would go on Pam. Like, I know, and this is coming from a girl who I love me a good, joking movie, and it even when the joking movie is damn, that was up, I'm not too woke or something is what I'm trying to say. I'm honestly not, I'm problematic. I'm pretty problematic, low key, but my point is that there are some things where I draw the line and it just bothered me, or I don't know, it's Pam was so beautiful and so fine, and I just feel like growing up as a chocolate girl, I don't even know if I was able to understand the greatness of Pam because of the light that I feel like I was being fed. You know what I'm saying? Of just always going on Pam, always, that's all I remember. And I didn't like that, but so I feel conflicted because while I feel like this show is incredible, and I feel like Martin is a legendary show, and all of the actors and Tommy and everybody, legendary, amazing. I adore them all. You have no idea. And I adore Martin. I adore him. It just would piss me off. The joking on Pam. I just didn't like that, I'll always kind of feel a way about that.
So for me, I know that this is a sensitive topic. I know representation means everything. But one, and we've talked about this before, the husband or boyfriend joking on the best friend of the wife or girlfriend figure and them going back at each other is a staple, a comedic staple of sitcoms. Aunt Esther and Red Fox on Sanford and Son. George and Florence on the Jeffersons. Archie Bunker and Anybody. I mean, it is a staple of the show. And I understand, once again, representation is everything. But as she pointed out, and many others have, if you watch the show, everybody thought Pam was fine. Tashina was up there stunting. Body boom, face boom, hair pow. It was all there, right? And as Forensic Accountant pointed out in the chat, I don't recall, and maybe someone else can find an episode, but I don't recall the jokes being about her color. Now, you can say you're being obtuse because he called her Beady Bead and he called her a dog sometimes, but Pam got in Martin's behind. She let him have it all the time. They talked about Gina's big head. They talked about her being light bright. Nobody cares when you talk about a light-skinned woman and her complexion or a light-skinned dude. And that's not a woe is me, or any of that. It's just a note that in this particular show, I felt it was in the tradition, a long-held black tradition, of playing the dozens. They were jonesing on each other. Everybody got it. Nobody was spared. But one thing that I think is important is we should hear from Tashina on this, right? And so there was an interview that Tashina did a while ago where she was asked this very question. And I feel like hearing it from Tashina will solidify it for some. Again, I feel for Ari because I feel that there is some projection in what she sees. And we are all colored by our personal experience, and it enhances how we respond to things. That's a known fact. That's where all of the trigger words come from. Because you're triggered because it is something that you have internalized, something that may have been out of pocket, out of line that happened to you. So you see it in everything else. But I think it's also important in those moments to recognize, right? I know that there's a lot of rehashing of the past, what is and what isn't appropriate. But sometimes I feel like, y'all got to relax a little bit. I know you're tired of hearing it was a different time, but it was. You can't reorganize the past in such a way that these things, that the surrounding nuance of the particular circumstance doesn't exist. So, yeah, let's hear what Tashina had to say.
I know that there's been a suggestion that there's a sort of light skin versus dark skin sort of dynamic between the way Martin treats Gina and the way he treats Pam.
Who'll be the hat? Yo, Pam, you should be the dog as usual.
Have you ever considered that, or do you look at that and just in the way that like the things he calls you sometimes in character?
You know why I never considered that? Because originally Raw was all fat jokes, like I told you, it was written, which is not better. Yeah. But we as a culture go through that, and it's I never was insulted by it because, first of all, it's my job to be able to bring life to this role, and how do I keep a certain, because there were things that were written towards Pam and Martin would say, absolutely not, I'm not saying that. So there are fights that happen off camera that a lot of people don't know about. I would say no to your question only because what Martin and I had was really organic. So wherever that comes from is because of us personally and not because of what we really saw in each other. It wasn't derived from light. It just so happens that Tisha is very light. Yeah. And what happens is people, Tisha would go through, like girls would come and watch the show in the studio audience, and every time Tisha would talk, they would suck their teeth. They didn't want, because, so people, they didn't want her to have the man. They wanted, me to have the man. It's like, you still get it on both ends. Light-skinned women still get, the same treatment. So different. We're treated differently, but you still have to go through hurdles.
You're still black, so
either you're too black, not black enough.
Yeah,
it's always something. It's always something. So what do you do as an individual to not change it, but bring a different version or bring new life to it? Let's change the narrative here. Let's stop talking about things that we're taught. Let's talk about the things that we know, and let's address the issues in a way where it's a happy balance. Because we're always going to go through racism. Racism is not going anywhere, even within our own culture. But we have to teach each other. Okay, why is it that I feel this way? Why am I treating you the way that I'm treating you? Why is it? So I think when you ask yourself questions, it allows you to get through life a lot easier because, you question yourself first before you question somebody else.
Yeah.
What's your intentions? Why do you feel this way? Where did it come from?
So she said a lot there, but most importantly, what she said is, one, originally, again, nothing about complexion or color, just something that someone would be insecure about. They were going to have fat jokes. Some people raise a flag now, but nobody would be raising a flag, really. They might look back and say that they were harmful and cruel, but maybe not. Although Countess Vaughn has, received a lot of, but she wasn't even fat when she was on Moesha. And I do think that we have to remember, too, that again, styles change, things that are in. The BBL look is definitely not a look that would have been popular in the 90s. The 90s was about natural beauty, but not just that. Really, really low waistline jeans and things like that. Things for thinner bodies, right? And it rolled over into something else. So, one, I think we have to recognize, I do know that representation is important. I do know that people will force their stereotypes and their ideas through this type of content. But I also know that we can't dog whistle everything, right? And I'm not saying this just because it is this particular subject. I am saying it because you have to look at intent, you have to look at nuance, and you have to look at the show as a collective. And again, everybody got it. Everybody got it. Nobody feels bad that Cole was called stupid 95 million times. They know that the actor that portrayed him is not a dummy, right? But we also can see how beautiful Tashina was. And him calling her ugly had nothing to do with her complexion. It was because she was his girl's best friend and they had a contentious relationship. Period. Fahima in the chat says, colorism is an issue in our community. Dark-skinned people are often the butt of jokes as well as light-skinned folks that get it too. Bill Duke unpacked this in 2 documentaries that address this. I mean, indeed, it is an ongoing thing. It always will be. House inward, field inward. We always have that internal battle, but, we can talk about it on shows like this. We have a caller on the line, Vet from Long Beach. Welcome in, Vet. How are you this evening?
Hi, I'm fine. Thank you. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. So, as a chocolate woman who was in high school during the time that Martin was on, I watched it faithfully, and I never saw it like that as far as, like, him bragging on Pam because, like, she was dark-skinned. I missed a little bit of what you were saying because I was in the grocery store, but I did hear the part about, like, Cole being made fun of. But, everybody was made fun of. Tommy was made fun of because he didn't have they thought he didn't have a job. Martin was, like, made fun of because of his ears and
his height.
And his height. And then, not Pam. I want to call her just, Gina. She was made fun of because of her head. Like, remember when her head got stuck in between the bars of the headboard?
Do you remember when his mother, Martin's mama, called her a light-skinned B-word? I mean, it's like it always, there were jokes on everybody and it was just ragging. I did not feel as though at the time he was talking about Pam because he really believed, even I'm saying as the character of Martin, not the actor, the character really believed she was ugly or anything. And I never heard, outside of what was targeted towards Gina, anything about anybody's color. I never heard no black A or anything like that, you so dark, or any of those type of jokes. I just heard regular jonesing. So
exactly.
Continue with your thoughts, Beth.
I heard the same thing. And what's interesting is that I kind of got in a little bit of trouble with one of my relatives, like, because she's, like, very, very light, and she felt uncomfortable being as light as she is. She used to say, like, I know I'm white, and we were, like, joking one day, and I was like, see, this is why I don't mess with light-skinned folks. No, I said, this is why I don't argue with light-skinned folks. And, she got upset. I mean, really, really upset. And I've had this conversation with another one of my cousins where, like, she could almost pass, but she was, like, uncomfortable and grappling with her blackness, like, if I'm this light, am I really, like, would people like really consider me like, you know, a black person?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it goes both ways because, you know, some want to be lighter and some want to be darker. So it's just all a matter of how one feels about oneself as far as I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm.
The colorism thing is always, it seems like it's always going to be there. But I think that it was a reach for Martin to be painted in that way. The jokes that he directed toward Pam.
I feel that way too. Thank you so much for listening and calling in, Vet. We appreciate you.
No problem. Have a good one.
You too. Listen, I agree with Vet. The chat, they have more to add. Forrest Harrison says, the generations after X are too soft. They're the generation of I have anxiety. I think I'm autistic, always looking for sympathy. Forensic Accountant says, we're the school days generation. We weren't bothered by Martin. And we weren't. You know, just a different time frame, a different sort of mentality in how we process things. You know, we taught you to be feelings and to respect feelings and to be aware, but I guess it's gone a little too far. Or maybe it's just that we have too much exposure to everyone's thoughts. Could be that. When we come forward, more trending topics and headlines, all of that on the other side. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Are you ready for the hottest entertainment scoop in Los Angeles? She's bringing you exclusive interviews with today's biggest stars, behind-the-scenes Hollywood insights, and all the entertainment news you need to know. She's breaking down what's trending, what's ending, and what's just beginning in the world of entertainment. You're riding with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Black Senator Cory Booker says some fellow Democrats are, quote, complicit, end quote, in President Trump's agenda. On the Senate floor, he blocked a bipartisan law enforcement funding bill, arguing the funds would not be fairly distributed.
This, to me, is a problem with Democrats in America right now.
He also called it unconstitutional for Trump to pick which states get grant money. Attorneys for Sean Diddy Combs are asking a judge to release him on $50 million bail ahead of his October 3rd sentencing. In a letter, they argue there are, quote, exceptional reasons, end quote, he should not stay jailed after his July conviction for transporting women for prostitution. And President Trump is taking legal aim at former Vice President Kamala Harris and celebrities like Beyonce and Oprah, claiming they were paid for endorsements, which he says breaks campaign finance laws, but filings show only event cost reimbursements. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
A crash in Downey on the 605 southbound past the 5. Motorcycle down, carpooling blocked, delays away from Rose Hills. We're also looking at the drive as you make your way along the northbound side of the 605. Delays in Norwalk from the 105 freeway on the breaks and stretches all the way back to the 10. Let's look out Pomona, both directions of the 71, pretty crowded between the 60 and the 10. Also, getting out of Anaheim, East 91 loads up at about Kramer-Glassell to Green River.
Compassion sponsorship means food, healthcare, education, and more for a child in poverty. And there are thousands of kids who've been waiting over a year. End their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Text the word radio to 83393.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The tragic shooting in New York City Monday brought up a subject the NFL does not like to talk about. Shane Tamura, the gunman who killed 4 people inside a building where the NFL is headquartered, left a letter blaming the NFL for issues he was having with his brain. Tamura, a former running back at 2 Southern California high schools, did not play football after high school, but in his letter, he used the initial CTE, which stands for chronic traumatic encephalopathy, a brain disorder caused by too many blows to the head. CTE is the most dreaded initial in the NFL. The league for years has rejected claims that CTE knee is directly responsible for long-term head injuries. But the league has paid more than $1.4 billion in settlements to former players dealing with CTE symptoms. With the season just around the corner, the last thing the NFL wants to be asked about is CTE. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Break out the champagne. Everybody get a glass.
Tavis Smiley is now ranked number 16 nationally and the highest rated talk show hosted by an African American on the 2025 Talkers Heavy 100 list of the most important talk radio hosts in the nation. Last year, Tavis ranked number 33 and the year before, number 45. The Tavis Smiley Show has rapidly expanded its national syndication to now include nearly 50 radio stations across the country and counting. Congratulations, Tavis.
Yeah.
JP Morgan Chase offers tips for the local business owners in 2025. Small business landscape is ever-changing, and the Los Angeles market is no exception. A startup or legacy business, revisiting your mission statement and recalibrating offerings can renew opportunities for growth and innovations. Programs like Chase for Business Coaching for Impact gives entrepreneurs access to expert guidance, helping you streamline operations, strategize your growth, and navigate complex challenges. Businesses with a clear sense of purpose can navigate any challenge effectively, but also build stronger customer loyalty. Visit chase.com/coaching for impact for more information. This segment is sponsored by JP Morgan Chase.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Imagine a Los Angeles where everyone can thrive, where communities have access to the resources they need to succeed. That's the vision of Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. They're dedicated to improving life in LA County by providing educational support, employment assistance, and spaces for community engagement. By 2050, they want LA to be the best place to connect, create, learn, live, and play. They're working toward an education system that's well-resourced and culturally responsive, becoming a hub for artists and innovators, and making sure everyone has access to healthy food, quality healthcare, and safe housing. It's about building a future where we all have the chance to succeed. We invite you to learn more about their mission and get involved with Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
You're listening to Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Something on your mind, I feel it every time I'm with you. Oh, it's what you like to do.
back in. I feel like this is when I should drop my quiet storm. It's a vibe, a little bit. We'll keep it upbeat. It's Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. We're about to get into cards. Did you play your cards right? I don't know if Gilbert Arenas did. Do you notice, by the way, that anytime Gilbert gets involved with some cards, some type of gambling card game, it leads to, handcuffs for the boy. I mean. All right, let's get into the details. Shout out to the chat. They're still going. Got a couple of bits of commentary that I want to give to you from the last topic. Fahima says, it's not the characters, but the writers. She also adds, and I lost it. Chat moving too fast. Essentially, what she said, though, was that it was in response to the comment about Gen X and millennials. We worked through our trauma a different way, so we might have over-indexed and allowed feelings to come way too much into the equation. And now we got some soft kids. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that there aren't issues that are very valid that they bring forth and discuss and have conversation on and work through. I appreciate that. But I do think at a certain point, some of it you have to lay down, because these are things that are 20, 30, 40 years ago, and you can make a change moving forward, but you can't re-edit what has already happened. You can do better if you feel it's better for yourself and those that are coming up around you. But we see the road to hell is paved with good intentions, So that's just a little side note. So let's get into Gilbert Arenas. He was arrested this morning, right? He has been released on $50,000 bail. And what went down is typical Gil. I shouldn't say that, but he, along with 5 others, were arrested after allegedly turning. Now, there is some debate if he rented another mansion to have this operation running out of, or if it was just that he was renting out his home. I believe it's the latter, but I've seen it expressed both ways in print. So just want to put that out there. But I believe he was renting out his home, because Gilbert has a very large house. If you don't know, Gil's Arena is done in his home. He had it outfitted as a production studio and so forth for them to film there. So, there's space in the gated community. And apparently he was running a private poker game, right? High stakes. This happened between 2021 and 2022. It had custom tables. The table said Arenas Poker Night or Lounge or something, and it had him in his Agent Zero jersey on the table. This could have just been for home and friend use, But they're saying it was specifically for the operation. He hired chefs, security, naturally, and he had women who were serving the players drinks, food, massages, and maybe some other stuff according to the allegations. We don't know. And the feds say that he made money from skimming the pot, and he's now facing federal charges for conspiracy as well as false statements. So he paid Katz, the guy that set up the game, one of the people involved that was arrested along with him, $14,000 for managing the setup for the games. There are text messages in the indictment that say that Gil wanted to earn a rake, which is a portion of the money wagered in the games, and that he wanted to do something nice and send some type of gift to the mother of a person he described as a deceased former lover. So basically, he was, one of the things he was taking the money that he was getting from this endeavor doing is taking care of somebody who used to mess with their mom, right? Gilbert has lots of things going on. He has a weed business, a grow business. We know he has Gil's Arena. There's some other things that he has property in. Even on the lowest of keys, do you know Gilbert Arenas has won the lottery before? Not like a huge payout, but a large payout, right? And so they have text messages of Gil from April of 2022. This is right before he started Gil's Arena, saying, I'm going to do a YouTube episode of me at the game, but blur out the players and the girls that don't want to be seen for my channel to hype it up. Federal prosecutors also say that Arenas lied to U.S. Customs and Border Protection agents in September of 2022 while trying to recover money that had been seized by Homeland Security from his master bedroom, telling the Border Protection officials that he was not involved in the gambling ring that was taking place at his home. Right? They took a 25 to 35% cut from the young women that were hired to give massages, etc. And one of the gentlemen that is involved in this is somehow collected to the Israeli mob. So, might have been the people you were doing it with. Maybe a sore loser at the match. You know, the IRS wants their cut if some things are going on, but just a lot happening. And here's the thing. Will Gil be able to survive this? His show, his YouTube show, which he owns, so there's no one to really answer to, but sponsored by a betting company. Does that look crazy? Does it matter? Is he still going to be on ESPN? We'll see what happens. Andy, you look like you have something to add.
Somebody snitched. That's one thing.
Yeah.
I think anybody who works with Stephen A. Smith, considering Shannon Sharpe, Gilbert Arenas, the Morris twin, might as well just stay away from First Take and ESPN. I'm not alleging anything about Stephen A., but it's just interesting that, you know, our fellow brethren who recently has worked with Stephen A. Smith, they're all into like some.
You trying to say
issues.
Stephen A. is the Fed?
I'm not saying, but I will. Social media will tell you that, which is funny. But you know, it's just unfortunate. Like, come on, Gilbert. Like, bro, you you got money. You know what I'm saying? It's just sometimes it's like when you have enough money, why are you even going out of your way to even make even more? I know that sounds kind of dumb.
No, I
but
feel
you get what I'm saying,
yeah.
Like, and especially you, all this under the table stuff, like, bro, I felt like you kind of redeemed yourself in a lot of ways, despite your horrible hot takes. You feel me? And I felt like he just be saying stuff just to be saying stuff. You know, I just felt like he kind of redeemed himself, you know, outside of the whole, you know, shooting all that stuff, the guns and all that. And to hear this, it's just whack.
I mean, so I will say this was before Gil's Arenas kicked off and had its success. But again, not counting the brother's pockets, I don't believe even at that time he was hurting for money. But Gil seems to love a deal. Sometimes it's hard to get the hustle out of people, you know. The chat says, forensic accountant says, Andy sounds like me at work. He's a forensic accountant, so he's following the trail of the money. Trent the artist says, see there, Andy knows how to connect the dots. Morris Phillips says, Gilbert is rich. He isn't broke. It's either a scam or a shakedown. And Fahima says, Gil sadly also has a case now. Yeah, he absolutely does. And I suspect that Stephen A. is going to be looking for a new crew to fill up some slots on First Take.
We ain't talked about Shannon yet. I'm going to say that for later.
When we come forward, we're going to get into Shannon Sharpe and Tracee Ellis Ross. All that more on the other side.
You're riding with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Sometimes an identity threat is a ring of professional hackers. And sometimes it's an overworked accountant who forgot to encrypt their connection while sending bank details.
I need a coffee.
And you need LifeLock because your info is in endless places. It only takes one mistake to expose you to identity theft. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 is committed to self-care and community well-being. Walk Good LA was formed in June 2020, inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement and the beginning stages of the COVID-19 pandemic. What began as a few minutes of breath work and yoga meditation before protests against police brutality turned into a safe space for the community to heal in hard times. The immensely positive response from the community transformed the momentum into a movement. Today, Walk Good LA is a black and brown-led community wellness organization based in Los Angeles. They provide spaces for healing through community yoga classes, guided meditations, hikes, run clubs, and other activations throughout Los Angeles that attract hundreds of members weekly. With the help of Propel and Michael B. Jordan, they now have a yoga and wellness studio in Los Angeles called the Walk Good Yard. To join their mailing list and connect with healing spaces, please visit walkgoodla.org. That's walkgoodla.org. Or find them on Instagram at walkgoodla. This is a community call to action, a community call to healing from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
You're listening to Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
We're back. KBLA Talk 1580 with Jill Munroe hitting these entertainment topics hard, Waddy. And we have a caller on the line. Eric from Carson wants to talk Ari Lennox. Eric, what's up with you tonight? What do you have to say?
Hey, what's up, Jill?
Hey.
I just wanted to say I went to a get-together, and it was two females there. One was dark-skinned. I'm a dark-skinned male. She was extremely dark, and one was kind of like brown complexion. And I went up to her, and I said, I want to tell you something. I said, but don't take it the wrong way. And she said, all right, go ahead. I said, you are really beautiful for a dark-skinned woman. And she said, I know exactly what you mean. And she didn't take it personal.
No.
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 Let me clean it up. Let me clean
Okay.
it up. And so the other girl was offended. And so I was just trying to explain to her that when I grew up, I'm dark and my sister is light. And I grew up with this. And so when you see someone who's dark skinned, you have to get past the fact that the perception is that if you're dark skinned, you can't be attractive. It's not true, but you have it's something going on that you have to get past that. If you only understand it if you have been through it. So I was just trying to say that to her. She knew exactly what I meant, and so I know it doesn't sound right, but I'm just speaking truth.
I listen, I get that you were trying to go someplace and not be offensive, but no matter what, don't put a caveat on a compliment. You are beautiful. You are pretty. You are very attractive. We don't need the last part. Why do we need that? We don't.
No, you're right.
I mean, really,
right.
like for real. Why do you have to add that? Even if you felt like you were boosting her up, maybe because, dark-skinned women are overlooked or bypassed at times. Even if you felt that's what you were doing, language is important. And if you put a but or, any type of caveat on the end of that sentence, it takes away some of the beauty that maybe you intended to spread with those words. So even if you were trying to uplift, you don't have to expressly say, and I'm uplifting you,
Well, this time I'm going to take the tongue lashing because you're right.
So, listen, thanks for calling as always, Eric. So real quick, Shannon Sharpe. Basically, ESPN said no thank you and politely walked him out the back door. We figured that this could happen no matter if they settled it or even if he was found innocent just because it's a Disney-owned company. The details were quite salacious. Shannon came out and admitted to some aspect of the, tricky, slippy as far as their relationship is concerned. Now, we know that some of these actions were consensual, but the line is very blurry on what was or was not. We just know that they settled. And ESPN said, thank you, but no. So, Andy?
If I'm FS1, I'm throwing the bag at Shannon Sharpe.
You're going back. I can't see it happening.
Yes, do it. Do it. He is a hot commodity. Football season is coming up, and quite frankly, the sports personality seems to be dropping like flies right now.
They really are.
But, Shannon Sharpe still has Club Shay Shay. I know it's probably not as hot as it was, you know what I'm saying? He still has Nightcap. The sponsors might not be there, but, he's still going to be on your timeline somehow. But if I'm FS1, I'm going to get Shannon. I'm going to go get RG3, and I'm telling you, views through the roof.
They probably would be. DJ GG Sweet says Shannon Sharpe is the person Cat Williams was talking about in his own interview. 2025 has been a beast. It surely has. Listen, everybody, the dominoes are falling where they may. Miss Tracee Ellis Ross, she says, I like where my feet are. Tracee just delivered, a gospel for grown women and grace. In an interview in Self Magazine, it's a cover story. We know that Tracee has her Roku show out right now about traveling while single and all of the things are going on. So that's why she's interviewing, because I know people are going to say, why is she still talking? Right? And some feel that she has made being single and happy a personality trait, that she discusses the fact that she's single and happy too much. Right? She's a 52-year-old woman. She says she's not anti-love, but she is done with society's pressure to be booed up to feel valid. And I feel that. She said, I'm not interested in being the poster child for singledom. What I don't mind is being the poster child for living your life on your own terms. She said that, she ran into an ex recently, but she said, feelings don't frighten me. They deepen me. And she also shut down the double standard. Men get to age where they like. She says, now I'm ready. But women, we're supposed to be waiting the whole time for someone to pop the question and for our life to be fulfilled. But men could have a fulfilled life without that being there. She says she doesn't stand for that. So she's not just being cute and quirky. She's being grown up and sharing clarity, I feel. I like where my feet are. That's a mood, right? That's fair. But again, some people feel like sour grapes, bitter grapes. I feel like a woman not pining away for love that is single, no children, and over 50 especially, you're like, you have to be lying. You can't really be happy. You're miserable. And it's not true. Andy?
Does she even want kids?
I mean, I think probably not now, maybe at one point, but it's like if you either wait for marriage and the traditional path, I'll say, or you don't. And I think she has nieces and nephews. I think that she's been wealthy all of her life. So, just didn't happen. Well, look. Let's give them a break, right? And by them, I mean the single women. Do you guys ride this hard on the single old men? No, you don't.
Yeah, she ain't got to deal with all the emotions, too.
What emotions?
I mean, just the emotional roller coaster and being in a relationship.
I mean, that is true, but she says she, has friends to scratch the itch. So sometimes there can be drama in situationships, too. Sometimes maybe people are clingy. Sometimes the situationship may want something more permanent. Who knows? But if she feels good, I feel good. And I think that you can feel good and be single, even if you desire a relationship. But, we'll let Zoe Williams talk to you a little bit more about stuff like that. Listen, thank you for liking in each and every day, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. We'll be back tomorrow with another banger to keep you updated, of course. So, digital timeline translator out. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
life. Now I don't want anybody to get the wrong idea about me. I don't have nothing to hide. I want the world to see. Just like a car will drive you out of your mind. It's always the first step in us having a good time.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. A Black Chicago man is suing police and prosecutors